Hello, dreamers, and welcome back to Dream Queen by Perla. As always, guys, thank you for your love and support. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't done so, I encourage you to do so. It helps with growing the channel, getting the video out there for more people, as well as keeping me accountable. For personal readings, so that information can be found down below in the description. So we have Scorpio Sagittarius Cusp. And again, guys, remember that these are general readings, so only take whatever applies and leave the rest. We have this judging energy around you. A lot of you are being very critical and very judgmental about yourself. You're really not giving yourself enough credit for how far you've come. You're really not seeing how much you have actually grown. You have really not seen how far you have what habits or whatever it has been, right? And maybe this is what you're used to, right? People constantly criticizing and judging you, and at some point in your life you started to internalize that, and you started to allow that to become your own inner dialogue. Whether this is in all areas of your life or a very specific area of your life. Again, because these are general readings, you have to apply this wherever it goes. But you're being reminded that you're doing the best that you can, whether that is running your household, whether that is your education, whether that is your fitness, whether that is your mental health, your spirituality, whatever it is, you are exactly where you're meant to be at this moment in time. A lot of you need to stop comparing your journey, your path, and where you are at this moment in time with someone else's. Remember, we come into each other's stories at different chapters, right? So you may meet somebody where they're at the end of something and you're just at the beginning. Or you may meet somebody that is at the beginning and you're towards the end. And because you're looking or you're comparing yourself with other people in any specific area of your life, you're being critical and you're being judgmental with yourself. Now, there's a difference between comparison and competition, right? Um, because like the way that I look at it anyways, if I'm comparing myself, it's like I want to be that person. I want to be as good at that as that person is in this. I want to be as good as whatever, right? When I'm competing, I want to be the best, and I'm gonna be honest, right? I want to beat everyone, whatever it is, and that role or that energy doesn't play into everything, and you also have to have discernment when it comes into that, right? So when it comes into being myself, there's nobody to compete with but the version of who I was yesterday, the version that I was an hour ago. That's my only competition. Right? That is the only thing that I'm comparing myself to. The only thing that I am competing with is myself. Because as there is nobody else like me, there is nobody else like you. Right? Now, when we talk about like sports and stuff like that, I do get into a competitive mode because the way that I look at it, it's like, okay, if I've been second and I've been second and I've been second, in order to be first, not only do I have to beat the other person, which yeah, that's like an extra, let's be honest. But I have to be myself. I have to be who I was when I became second place. And that's kind of like the way that you have to start looking and analyzing things so that you stop comparing yourself so much to other people and instead start competing with yourself. Start competing with the version of the past of you, right? Whether that was a week ago, whether that was a year ago, whether that was 5 minutes ago, compete with that person. And when you start to do that and you start to refocus that energy within yourself, you start being so critical and so judgmental about yourself, right? Because then you start to see where you are exactly and how far you have actually come. So let's go ahead and let's pull out a love energy card. Now, this can be any type of love, romantic, platonic, spirituality, yourself, your goals and your desires. We have number 16, the black flower fragrance, right? So again, when we think about fragrance, we think about smell, right? We each have our own unique scent. We each have our own special way of doing things, our own way of expressing. Now, we may have similarities with other people in certain things, but just because you're similar in certain aspects with other people, you really all I really want to say is stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop comparing your story where it is at this moment with where someone else's is. Um, you can definitely be inspired by other people, but don't judge yourself that hard. I feel that you guys don't even judge other people as hard as you judge yourself. You're like super, like the energy that I'm picking up is like super critical of yourself. Whether it is how you're executing something, whether it is how you're showing up, or whatever it is. So let's go ahead and let's pull out an oracle card for your closing message, guys. Give yourself a break. Give yourself, remember, every time that you meet a challenge, every time you're facing a challenge, you're giving yourself the opportunity to grow. So what is your closing message? Crystals and herbs. Number 12. All want medicine, was sacredness to behold, a dash of healing straight from mother's home. So again, this energy of healing is something that it is required for you at this moment in time when we're talking about the way that you judge yourself, the way that you judge an aspect of yourself. Refocus all that energy to yourself, to accepting who you are at this moment, to how far you have actually come. And when you start to do that, you start to realize that you've been selling yourself short. You haven't been giving yourself enough credit. You haven't been celebrating yourself enough. Well, guys, that is all that I have. Sending every single one of you love, strength, and blessing, guys. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.